Hi everyone, it's Michelle from Country Morning Creations, and today what we're doing is creating this journal. So what I'm going to do is a full tutorial on how to do a journal and make a journal out of using a manila folder, and why it makes a great 3-signature journal, and how to do everything from decorating the cover to adding ephemera and decorating pages. So let's get started. What I have here is a manila folder that the first thing I did was I went ahead and folded the creases that are all the way in the manila folder. That becomes our spine. If you have one that has more than just the 3, you can add more signatures if you'd like. I'm just doing 3 because there's 3 here, and you'll see how that works once we get to sewing in the signatures. However, before we sew in the signatures, I find it really a good idea to go ahead and decorate the outside, because once those signatures are in, it'll become really difficult to do anything else. Now what I like to do is I pre-cut some paper that I've printed out, and then I trimmed the corners. I used, this is the crocodile, it's not that one, it's a different one. Anyway, this is the crocodile with the Art Deco corners on it. I love that. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a topper first and then glue it down. I chose this image from the kit that I'm using. It is the Cozy Country kit. That's kind of hard to say, but some of the things I like to do is to layer things up. So before I glue anything down, I'm thinking about using some of this lace down here. I think I'm going to grab some sari silk, glue that, or add that to on top of this lace, and probably gather it so it adds some interest. And then I'm going to do some stitching around this whole thing. Then we're going to add a few more pieces before that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and glue down this picture. I'm working with a specialized board, and it actually allows me to use magnets, and this helps me to line things up better, because I want to get this picture centered in this, on this paper, as best as I can. So this will take just a second because I want to line everything up. I think I have, it looks like I have this centered, but what I don't have centered is this piece, and now I think I do. But before I put that down, one of my favorite things to use right now is, this is called, what is it called? Oh, drywall tape. So this is what my husband puts down, and it actually does have sticky to the back, so I don't need to use any glue, and it will stick down on its own. But I wanted to put a little bit of this. I'm going to cut this part off because it's a bit dry. I want to put this behind the little card I have here. I think about that much will be about right. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this here so that it peeks out behind the card, and then we'll go ahead and put the card down as well. I'm going to grab my Fabri-Tac because 1, it's fairly quick and dries fairly quick. 2, it doesn't leave a sticky film, so that when I sew around this, it won't gum up my sewing machine, and that's one of the things that I prefer to have when I am doing this sort of work. So that looks about like it is centered. Again, you know, it's a junk journal. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead now and do some stitching, and I'll be back, and then we'll add a few more embellishments before we glue this to the actual cover. Now that I have the sewing done around this, I decided not to stitch all the way around the card. I simply stitched around this and then stitched down. Like I said, I was going to do some sari silk and some lace, which I think is very pretty. However, I'd like to throw a few more embellishments on this. Medium-sized star in here. So maybe we'll do some stars up in here in this corner. I'm trying to cover up. I've got a little, it looks like I got a drop of something on there, and I'm just trying to cover that up. But I think I love the idea of 3 little stars up in here to help add to that. So I'm really liking that. I love this pin on here somewhere, but now that I have that up in that corner, I'm thinking it would go better maybe more in the center here, underneath of that. I like that. Let's see. I feel like I need something or a couple of things else. Oh, I do have these wooden pieces. Oh, now that looks really good. You know, I'm kind of feeling like this is pretty well done. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all of this down for now. And we'll see what it looks like when I hold it over the cover. So that they splay out. Now this is the reason why I do this first and then glue this all down, because if I don't, then this is coming through on the back side and we see it on the back side. At this point, let's take a look at how this looks. And I think we're about ready to glue this whole thing down. And so it's going to go right here. And the way I glue this down is I simply take it and put glue all over it. I'm going to trim these little threads real quick though. Okay, because the long threads on the back are going to be distracting. And now, just go ahead and glue the whole back. I watered down my glue so it's a little bit runny right now, which probably doesn't help things. I'm getting way too much glue on there, but let's see how it works. All right, and the other thing I like about this glue is it's pretty forgiving, so once you put it down, you still have a little bit of time to move it and get things centered and right where you want them. All right, that's the front, and I have this piece for the back. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down as well. Then I'm going to take some stickers that I've made, and I want to put those on the back because I think backs of books should be neither blank nor boring. And we'll put some little pieces on the back as well. Get those threads out of there. And I'm just sort of eyeballing it and trying to get the tops and the bottoms to match and everything. All right, so that piece is on the back, and this helps to kind of stabilize everything as well. So I'm going to take a second to let this dry, and I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning up. So, as I promised, I was going to grab some stickers that I had made, also part of this digital kit, and now I can't find them. All right, let's find them. So, as I promised, I have some stickers, and we'll pick one of these and stick it to the back, and I like to put it down in the lower left-hand corner. So it just needs to be something that's going to work, and obviously I don't want to reuse that. Let's see. Do I want something? I'm kind of digging the clock. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the clock. I printed this on sticker paper and then cut it out. I actually have a scan and cut, and I love how that works on these things. So now that the back is done and we have our two pieces, I'm also going to go ahead and put, as you can see, this is used. I've got stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and put my two pieces that I cut out for the inside down as well. And right now, what I'm seeing is that this is going to show, so I may need to put something down there to cover that up. I was digging through my scrap pile and I found this piece of fabric. It's a little bit grungy and a little bit, but it's just a little tiny bit of fabric that I have left. So I'm going to go ahead and add that down as a strip just down the inside here to cover up all of that writing. And we'll just trim it real short when we're done. I love the idea of the pinking, as that's called, running down the outside edge as well. But I don't want it to really stick out. So I'm going to go about like that. And then I'm going to grab my fabric scissors and trim this off even with the edges. See if I can do that. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this piece over top of that. So it's barely going to show, but it's just going to show a little bit. But before we do that, let's go ahead and distress the edges of this. Now that I've distressed the edges, I'm simply going to glue these down as well. Again, I like to glue things down before I put all the signatures in, because it actually is a little bit more difficult once you're trying to work around all those signature pieces. So just adding some glue to this real quick, and I'll add glue to the other side, and then we'll be done with the cover for now. But we're not done with the whole journal, because next up are the signatures. And now the cover at least is done for now. We're going to set that aside and go ahead and let's put together some signatures. I kind of like using a formula, if you will, to do signatures. So what I've done is gathered some sets of papers here. And what I have are just some general coffee dyed paper. It's the 8.5 by 11, just folded in half. I have a variety of, these are all genuine, none of these are printed. That is from I'm not sure what that's from. This is actually from an old cookbook. This is actually not vintage. I take that back. That's the only thing that's not. This is from 1920. I have a ledger thing. This is from the late 1800s. It's a report. Oh, I know what that other one is. This is from a Farmer's Almanac, and this is a 1940s Farmer's Almanac. And this is from actually a Pillsbury cookbook that I have that's an antique. It's probably from the 40s, 30s, or 40s. So I have things like that. And then I also love to use printables. So I have 3 different types of printables here. These I've already gone ahead and sewn the lace to, and I like to use those as the cover for a signature. Some people like covers on their signatures and some people don't. Then I have another set that have this the lines on it for people who like lined paper. And then I have a third set that is, again, very similar to what we're using for the signature covers. However, I have left them plain. They don't have any anything on the inside or the outside. They're just plain. So I like to set this up kind of as a station. And so what I'm going to do is I only have I'm only putting 2 pieces of the coffee dyed paper in, and then I'm going to put a piece of, let's do let's grab one of these, and then I'm going to do a lined paper like this. So there'll be lots of decorative paper actually in this. And then let's do another piece of, actually, I think I'm going to wrap this coffee dyed paper. So I've got coffee dyed paper and then a piece going sideways, and then I want a piece going right side up to wrap around this. And then we're going to end with one of these. And I believe that should be 7 pieces of paper total. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I could do 8 pieces total, and that would make it pretty thick. I traditionally only do 7 pieces, but I still have plenty of writing in here. So let's do the other 2. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to put each signature is going to be tied into each one of these folds. And so I'm trying to kind of get everything lined up to the best of my ability. But again, this is where I use pencil instead of pen, because I want to make sure that my signatures are all lined up in the right place before I do anything drastic. All right, there's my first set. I'm going to move this over, the goal being that they all end up about in the same plane, if you will. And one more set. All right, well, they're not perfectly straight across, but they'll do. And for this next part, I'm going to grab a paperback book. You could use a bigger book. You could use something more like a big telephone book, or do people even have phone books anymore? However, this works really well because I need something soft behind it so that the holes actually poke through. I were to try to do this directly to the board, to this, it won't work. And so it needs to be something soft. It could be a mat of some kind. You could even go so far as to maybe even use a like a cutting board, something along that line. And so I'm trying to correct for some of these holes that didn't necessarily poke all the way through, or I didn't mark real well. Okay, through 2 more sets and then we're done. So like these don't line up straight across. I'm trying to make sure they all line up as best as I can straight across so that the signatures all match. And that one wasn't quite in the middle. This one isn't quite in the middle either. So I'm going to go back and fix that. The other thing you could do is simply draw lines across them. However, those lines will show, and you will want to erase them before you move on. So to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, I'm going to start with the outside one. This was my top one, or the one I wanted to be the first one. And I'm going to go ahead and measure out my thread. This is upholstery thread that I have. And I'm going to measure it 3 lengths. If you're just going to do, actually, you know what? I'm only going to do 2.5. I don't want to waste a lot of this, but it's for if you want it to be a big bow or something on the inside. But I think I'm going to do these on the outside, end up with the knots on the outside, because I'm going to cover the spine with some fabric. And actually, I'm going to completely reverse the direction I was doing this in. I'm going to put the bottom one in first. It just makes life a lot easier, and then we just continue to stack them on top of each other. I also have my handy dandy needle book. Yes, this is one of the Nick the Booksmith kind of needle books that she made a while back. And I have a variety of needles in it. And then just going to thread this. Because this is upholstery thread, it's pretty sturdy and stiff, so it doesn't take a lot to actually do that. And we're going to start in the middle of the back signature, go all the way through the middle of this signature, like this. And then I've seen some people do things like put a clip on the end of this, a variety of other things. And actually, I think that's a great idea. I'm going to grab a bulldog clip. So now I can't accidentally pull this all the way through and pull it all the way out. So the way I do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, I know that there's a variety of different ways. Some people start at the top and work their way back down. It really doesn't matter as long as you go back all the way back up. So to me, as long as I'm already starting, that is not the right hole. Hold on, there it is. Since I'm starting on the bottom, I prefer to work from the middle out and then come back. So we're going to simply go up now to the top, go straight through that hole again. If I can never get it. There we go. We're going to go back down through this second hole right here. Pull that out a little bit, go through that second hole down in here. And then we're going to take it all the way down to this hole at the second to the bottom hole. So it's going to go past that middle hole, right in. In a perfect world, this would go much faster. Right in through here. And to get to the middle, which is where it should be coming out, yep, there it is, right here. Oh, and I have it too far folded over. There we go. Now I have it again, down through the bottom last hole, and then back up through the second hole, and then it will come back out through the middle. So we're going to go through this hole, and that did not work. All right. Not exactly sure what's going on here. Let's try this again. There we go. Now I got it. Okay. And then at the end, we come out through this center hole. And then we'll take a little bit of time to readjust everything so that we have everything all lined up correctly. So now we have everything through all the different parts, and I'm going to adjust some of this down to here. Pull that tight and pull that. And then last but not least, we need to have one on one side of this and one on the other side for this to work. So I'm going to double check this one last time, make sure everything is good and taut or tight, depending on what part of the world you live in. And I like to go back over here and just check all four of those as well. Then we're going to do what's called a square knot, a friendship knot, a couple of different things you can call it. So we go right over left. Let me see if I can do that one more time. Again, working with very stiff thread. Then you go left over right. So yes, it is the exact same one that's going to be on the outside. And then last but not least, we're going to go one more time through the other way. And now we've done it about 4 times. So I can cut this short and know that everything will still be secure. I will go ahead and get the other 2 signatures in now. Now I have my signatures all sewn in. You can see that they're sewn in here. They're good and sturdy. I used upholstery thread that works well. So the next thing I want to do is my mother is 85 and still wears blue jeans and is just an amazing woman. Love her dearly. So next I'm going to go ahead and I want to cut a 2-inch strip of denim from a pair of her old jeans to use as part of the spine. All right, this time we're going to try this. Don't get these magnets stuck like this. They're really hard to get apart. I will say that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop one in the middle there. And one in the middle-ish here. We're going to go back and put these marks down again using a ballpoint pen. So I'm just going to do this with a ballpoint pen because I think it will show up better. And then it will be easier to have a line or a mark to cut along. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, which is going to be a challenge because I'm right-handed, but let's see if I can hold this and make my marks again. Again, using a stretch fabric is a little bit challenging that has stretch to it because it's a little bit challenging to get it to do what you want it to do. So now I'm going to take my pinking shears and I'm going to simply pink along that line. The trick to using your pinking shears is you want to make sure that you line up and don't just chop, 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 or else you won't get a nice clean zigzag. And so I'm going to just keep cutting along here, and then we'll cut the ends off once we have everything glued down. Now that I have that fabric cut, we're going to go ahead and add that. And I find it easiest, oops, let me get these last two paper clips out of here before I forget. And then I find it easiest to open it to the middle of the middle signature in order to get this to all lay flat. And we're simply going to lay this down the middle this way. Now I do see that I have got this fabric sewn here, and that may be a bit of an issue. But I guess I am just going to have to go over that or cut it out, and I don't think cutting it would be a good idea. Well, the other thought is I could make this smaller, and then it only covers just a little bit of that, and that seems to lay more flat. So let's see, what is the width of this part? This is about 1 1/4 inches. So, but I kind of want this to go out over the back a little more. Nope, you know what? I think I am going to just work with it. All right, so a couple of different things. I could use Fabrifix, but I feel like that doesn't cover well enough. And so what I'm going to use, and this tends to not leak as much, is, oh, my big bottle. I have a big bottle of this adhesive. Lineco makes an adhesive. It's actually used for books. And I'm going to use it and add some right down the middle here, and then just put the denim right over the top. So again, I use a mason jar. This is actually dried glue in here, but this is a spreader. It doesn't have the, it's not a paintbrush per se, so it works a little bit better. And so we're going to take this, dip a little bit in here, just going down the middle part, right in here. You want to make sure it's all smoothed out. And this also helps to glue together the thread so it doesn't come undone. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut these off as well, since they are now going to be underneath the piece of fabric that we're using for the center. And I'm going to trim this just a little bit better too, to get rid of some of the extra fabric. The other thing I like about this is it's pretty forgiving. I can sit here and talk to you, and I'm not worried about this getting completely dried out or anything like that. And so I'm just going ahead and putting this all the way down in the middle, all the way, make sure it covers everything. Keep smooshing it around, if you will. There we go. And smooshing that out. And then, like I said, it's a little bit forgiving, so we don't have to get this down perfectly the first time and right away. So again, I'm going to match the middle with the middle there, and then I can see about where to put these. And we're going to simply lay this down on top. And then I'm going to cut just a little bit off, because I do want to tuck this up over the top edge of my fabric so that it is glued to the other side as well. And this will tuck up underneath a little bit of your signature as well, but that's okay. So I'm going to simply, for this place, at this point, I am going to go ahead and use some Fabri-Tac and glue this down on this side. and tuck it up under. I'm pulling up the signatures a little bit, so this actually tucks up under the signatures by just a little bit. And we're going to let that dry. And then just a little bit. Make sure this is all tucked along here. It is. And sometimes this does take a little bit longer to do it, to hold, so it is a good idea to go back and press it down and make sure it's all pressed down. I'm going to flip the whole book over. Oh, phew. I usually check this way too late. I wanted to make sure that I had sewn all my signatures in right side up. I have more than once sewn them in upside down. And this needs to be trimmed just a little bit more. So I'm going to trim this down just a wee bit, so that it's not quite so big. And again, on this side, we're going to go ahead and run a little strip of glue along the bottom here, where this will go. There we go. And then we just fold this up as well. And again, you're going to want to hold it for just a wee bit. You could clamp it too if you wanted to. I do have some bulldog clips. You might want to use bulldog clips. But like I said, at this point, I'm going to hold this just a little bit and get that to hold, so that it doesn't come undone. And then last but not least, my thought is I would like to take this piece and put this over the top of the denim. I think that would be really pretty. So what I'm going to do is flip this over. This is the back side. I'm only going to put some glue in a couple of places. I don't like to glue the whole thing because I feel like a lot of this glue is going to seep out anyway. So I just put a little bit down on the edges and the top part. And we're going to flip this over now. Eek. And cover that part as well. So you can see I probably cut this piece for a spine for another book, and I ended up not using it, and so now I'm using it here. And oh my goodness, I love that. So I need to let this dry, and then our last part we're going to do is to come back and decorate all the pages and add all the ephemera. So we've got the cover done. The front cover is done. The back cover is done. The spine cover is done. I do highly recommend that you put some kind of fabric over this to reinforce it, not just leave it blank. Otherwise, you could put some fabric on the inside here, but I find it really hard to find my holes when I do that and get them between the folds in it. The next thing we're doing is going ahead and adding pockets. I like to have a pocket in the front, so I put a nice deep pocket there so far. And then I start gluing ones to some of the pages, and you can see they're still a little bit wet. So I've glued one to this page, and then let's see, I think I have another one in this signature as well, to the middle. And must be this one because it's glued to this page. All right, so if you get a little glue on there, this is not a real damp, but it's a hand wipe. So I use that to kind of go back over things and make sure that I don't have glue everywhere. Paper towel would work just as well. And the other thing I want to point out is I'm not gluing down this part at all. So a little bit of glue there, we'll get that off too. And then for the center signature, I went ahead and I'm gluing to the front and back. So I glued one to the front, and I've glued one now in the back of this signature as well. We're not quite there yet. There we are. So I've glued one in the back of the signature as well, leaving this part open. And then I'm going to go ahead and add at least one more in the middle here. Actually, this would make a great side tuck. So I think I'm not going to put one there, but maybe we'll use this page, or we could even put something on this page as well. Let me think. I think I'm going to put one of these here. Actually, that one's a really big one. Let's see. No, that would be, I think I'm going to hold off on that kind. Oh, you know what I don't have a lot of are this kind. So let's put one of these in here. Let's see. What do I have? I've got, let's just do this one. All right, so for these, I do want to go ahead and put the glue all the way around all the edges. Some people will leave one edge free still. That way you can put oversized things in them as well. And then I think there's probably a couple of different camps. Do you center it? Do you make it off-centered? I'm going to make this one off-centered. And then I can also clip things to this page as well. But I'm trying to leave as much writing space as I humanly can. And then we only have this last one. Like I said, this I'll probably tuck something in and pin it, because that makes a great tuck spot. And that's the back. This is the one in the back of that signature. So now we have this signature. I don't want to put something back to back. So I don't want one again right there. Let's go a little bit further in. We have this wonderful piece here. That is perfect for a nice big, let's actually do it on the other side. I'm going to use this one and put this one on this side. So that's good for a nice big tuck spot. And I'm going to just go all the way around, because that page is actually almost the size of a regular 8.5. It's pretty much the same size as the regular papers that I have. Not exactly, but pretty much. All right, and now that that's on, I definitely can see glue oozing out. So I want to wipe that glue. And this glue does take a little bit of time to dry. So it's important to get it all off of everything. Otherwise, when you go to use the journal, you can't get any of the pages apart. All right, there's that one. I have glue on my hand, of course. Let's do another one. Maybe, let's do one on this, because this is perfect for a little piece like that. So you're getting to see a little bit of my process and how I think things through, which doesn't always make sense, but I try. And so that's kind of what I like about these smaller ones, is they're really great for smaller pages and smaller tuck spots like that. Let's see, I think that's a little bit crooked, but I think that will work. And then I'm definitely going to put one in the back here. I want to go ahead and put one in the back here. And I like this one. However, I forgot to ink it. So I'm going to ink this one up real quick and then glue it in the back. And I'm going to go ahead and finish adding more pockets throughout this whole journal and use up all the pockets. And then the next thing we will do is I'm going to go back and put a tie closure on this. We'll go over that next. All right, so we're down to the last little bit. We're going to get this journal all finished decorating. We've got a few more things I would like to add to it. So part of the kit was actually a couple of different little tuck spots that you could add. These can be belly bands, or you can wrap them around the end of a piece of paper. This one can be clipped in or wrapped around a piece of paper as well. to strengthen something, or to just add a decorative piece to maybe even a plain piece of coffee dyed paper. That would look pretty. So I'm going to start with this one because I want to put this one in the middle. So we've got our middle signature here, and this is already looking fairly full, and because it comes off, I feel like I could put it in a variety of different places. That's already got a tuck spot. I think this middle part is actually quite full, so it may just have to go right in here. And so we're just going to put that right there. And that makes a cute little tuck spot as well. And then these last two, I think I'm going to add one to the front because they actually work really well as little tuck spots right that way, or you could do them as a belly band. But today I'm going to use them more as just a little pocket or tuck spot, or whatever you want to call that. And luckily this is not directional, so this one I'm not so worried about getting it right side up. The other one is directional, and even though the print is illegible, it still appears to have a right side up and a wrong side up for it. So we're going to go ahead and put this one, I'm going to just tuck it right in here. And then we've got a couple of things that we can tuck in to these. I've pretty much crammed everything into the other pockets though, so this will have to definitely see what else I've got. And then let's go to the third one, and I'm pretty sure this one is fairly full already also. This is just going to be a jam-packed journal, which is fine. I think I'm going to put this one here. So this is what I'm talking about. Although that is illegible, that is definitely right side up. So this one we're going to add here. And then we'll throw a couple of things in these. I have a couple of pieces of paper that I'm going to probably fold up and tuck into these tuck spots and make them work. And I may move things around before I go ahead and list the journal. And of course, the thing with extra pieces like this is that anyone can move it all around. And there's no, this has to stay wherever it's put. But this one's going to be pretty packed, and I like that. Let me see if I can move this down just a wee bit. There we go. So that one's moved down too. So we have a couple of extra tuck spots. And then some of the other things I think I would like to do is I'm going to, I have extra pages. I like to throw these in as extra writing space because not every page can be written on. And these are great to just kind of fold up wonky, if you will, to kind of add some depth and pieces to your pages. So again, these are things that you can tuck around a page like this, and then it sticks out the top and the bottom. You can simply tuck these in like this. You can also paper clip them to the top, and that's one of the things I think I would like to do. So I have some extra pieces of this sort of, what is this called? Jute twine. And I'm going to add them to the tops of some paper clips and just let it hang out. So I can tell that is a rather long one. I'm going to cut it in half so that I can at least get two more. And this makes a really cute thing to have tucked, just peeking out of the top. All right, that one's cut. And so let's take that. So we paper clip it this way. We want to put this through it this way and tie it. Eek, there we go. And then I just do a simple knot. I know some people get really complicated and tie bows and all kinds of other things. That's totally fine if that's the way you want to go. I just want some extra little pieces that are going to be sticking out of the top. Okay, yep, there we go. There's part of it, and the other part, this is just not even. Let's make this more even. Now I can tuck them through together. There we go. Yep, this is the one time I regret having long nails. I just love having long nails, but sometimes when I'm crafting, they really get in my way. So we're going to simply take this and tuck that there. I have quite a few of these, so I think I'm going to go back and maybe we'll tuck a real pretty one in like this. And I'm simply going to fold this into thirds, about like that, so that it simply gets tucked into this little tuck spot right here. Let's see, I have another one of these, so maybe we'll tuck this in that other tuck spot. And then that means that all the other decorative papers will simply go in with the, we'll just paper clip those in. So this one's going to go back here in this tuck spot right here. That's kind of cute. I actually like that. So I'm going to simply fold up the rest of these. We're going to make some jute, more jute paper clips and clip those all in. Okay, and the last part we're going to do is take some of these decorative, I've printed these off on sticker paper. So as you can see, remember we used that one already on the back. And we're simply going to put these on some of the blank pages that are in here. One of the things that I've kind of noticed is that it seems like a lot of people really like their journals very decorated. So normally what I would do is put these in, and then let's maybe put one here in the corner. And then I would let people decorate their own pages. However, I'm going to go ahead and just add these randomly in here on some of the copy dyed papers to give them a little bit more of a decorative feel. And let's see, let's put one more on this page. Let's do something like this. And sometimes you can put them up at the top in the middle. So again, don't think you just have to put them down at the bottom or at the top of a piece of paper. There's a variety of different ways you can do it. All right, so this last one is cut out, and what I'm going to do is put this on the back side of this page and put this one on this side of the page. A little trick, if you don't know this one already, when you already have pre-cut stickers, fold a corner back, and then you can usually pop a little bit of that out, and then you can peel it off. This one I'm going to put right here, and then we'll put this page over here. Maybe flip that over. There we go. And we're going to simply put that one in right there. And I think I'm done. So the next thing you'll see, I will go ahead and put a full flip through up of this journal. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, and I hope I've inspired you to be creative today.